Okay, here's the truth. You were never meant to just watch or read stories. Your very human nature has developed to be involved in the storytelling process, to be an active part of the storytelling community. And sci-fi shouldn't just be a passive experience, and you know that. You feel that truth in your bones, right? So all those great franchises that people have loved, from Star Wars to Lord of the Rings, they're modern myths. And 50,000 years of human conditioning have shaped you to have a sense of ownership of those myths, of belonging to them. The ones that you love and that you have a connection to. Now, historically, a mythos or a mythology, it's built, it's shaped, it's protected by those who understand it, by those who have a sense of belonging to it. But today, so much sci-fi, so much of the great stuff that we've known and loved for so long, it's being written by those who just don't. They don't get it. They don't understand it. They weren't there. They don't feel it. And you see it happening, right? You feel the loss. Like something that's you've invested so much time in is being taken away from you. And the stories and the myths that once shaped entire generations are now just products. They're content. They're stripped of all meaning and just repackaged for mass appeal. Yeah, it's so sad, because this is how mythos are lost. It's how mythologies die. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Decision by studio executive decision. And the question is, will you fight for the myths being taken away from you? Those that you have the power to, because, you know, no one else actually owns the IP. And let's face it, it's always someone who owns the IP and you're powerless. Will you fight to keep hold of them if you're able to? But if you're not able to, if you can't do anything about what's happening to those, would you build a new one? Because those are the only two choices left to you. So let me tell you about exuno, okay? It's a mythology. It's a self-aware mythology that embraces what it is. And there are two roles in exuno, only two, and everyone can take up a role, including you. There's myth makers and there's myth keepers. You are either one or the other with exuno. Myth makers expand the mythos. They write, they film, they create. They take the core mythology that's available to all, sorry, get rid of that, and push it forward, telling new stories that honor and build out the myth. They are the architects of the future. Myth keepers, on the other hand, they guard the mythos. They analyze, they debate, they defend the integrity of the story. They ensure that the mythos is remembered as it was meant to be, not rewritten by those who never understood it but just bought the IP so they could do what they want with it. See, elsewhere, people like this might just be called fans, or pejoratively, sometimes they're referred to as gatekeepers. There's some do take it a little far. But exuno is a community, and it's one that treasures the contribution of those who will stand guard over the mythology. Myth makers and myth keepers. One moves the story forward, and one ensures it stays true. Both are necessary. Both are absolutely vital. See, without myth makers, the universe stops expanding because no one's telling more stories. But without myth keepers, it stops meaning anything because it's just a bunch of stuff. So if you're here, you're already one of them. You're already one of these people, because in exuno, watching alone, sitting and watching something on YouTube, it's not enough. It's never enough, because this is a community, and it's better than that. You've seen how great stories die. Like, first they are simplified, and then they're rewritten, and then they're redirected at a new audience, and then the original audience is forgotten, and then the franchise is forgotten because it falls apart and everyone just loses interest. Every reboot that strips away depth, every retcon that erases what mattered, every franchise that chooses to be safe content over the real thing. This is how great sci-fi dies. Not because they took it, but because no one stopped them. Largely because no one could, because we didn't own it. But this time it's different. exuno isn't just a studio franchise. It's not nostalgia bait, and it is not for sale to anyone at any price ever. It's the first time that a true mythos has existed. The first true 21st century mythos that belongs to those who truly understand it. No boardrooms, no executives, no passive viewers. Only those who will fight to keep the myth alive. This mythos will be shaped by those who refuse to let it be rewritten, retconned, or sold out. The only question is, which are you? You a myth maker, expanding the story, or a myth keeper, ensuring that it stays true? Join us. Become one of these. Take up one of these roles. There's a role for you here because Exuno is a community that tells and owns the story. So where do you want to fit in with that? Comment below. Let's talk.